I suppose it might be a surprise to some people that I support this legislation. You know, the reality is I've spoken very openly, and I probably will speak again today on the Public Health Alcohol Bill. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about, but unfortunately people might think I'm in the temperance movement because I'm so passionate about this bill. But I am supportive of this legislation, and the reality is that we know in recent years Good Friday has been marred by excessive drinking in homes around the country. The panic buying of alcohol in the days before it is a sad reflection on our culture. Excessive drinking in homes where young people are present sends out the wrong message. So I do welcome any measure that will help reduce the harm that alcohol will do to the health of our people. For the health of our people, and I'm delighted to see that Senator Lawless supports the idea of the pub being a regulated environment, and I would like to see the introduction of the responsible server of alcohol built in as a requirement to licensing law in Ireland, with a level of pre-drinking at home before people go out. Many licensed premises are serving alcohol to already intoxicated persons. But I would like to make a few points in relation to the pubs opening on Good Friday. This was one of the few days in the year that bar workers could spend with their families, and I believe it should be an optional work day where if they do decide to work they get compensated as they would be. It's like it's working for on a bank holiday. The expressions, just again to talk about the Public Health Alcohol Bill, the expressions of support I've been receiving from people all over the country for the Public Health Alcohol Bill is very heartening for me. I was in Cork recently and I was asked to speak at a few different community events on the impact of alcohol on society. There's a genuine disbelief that there are public representatives out there who are not in favour of the bill in its entirety, and this bill will save lives. The notion that the retail and alcohol industry is succeeding in influencing some TDs and senators to prioritise profits before the health of the nation is incomprehensible to most people I speak to. So it's imperative that the alcohol industry does not have any input into the legislation that would benefit the health of the Irish people, and that any lobbying by these vested interests is opposed. To put it into stark terms, the saving of even one life is much more important than the profits of multinational corporations. 3 people are dying every day in Ireland from an alcohol-related illness, and this needs to be tackled. The crisis of people being forced to stay on trolleys in hospitals has to be considered against the fact that 1,500 hospital beds are taken up each day by people with an alcohol-related issue. No family who has a relative on a hospital trolley would support the idea that company profits are more important than a loved one's health care. I'm not opposed to alcohol when it's used in moderation. Education on the effects of alcohol needs to be available to all. The fact that 1 in 8 cases of breast cancer is caused by alcohol needs to be highlighted. The cultural change around alcohol that is needed in this country is being led by the great work of Minister Marcella Corcoran-Kennedy in introducing the Public Health Alcohol Bill. So we know that alcohol is a psychoactive drug and should be treated as such. And just to say, I know I've spoken about this before, I'm working with families, Minister, myself, who every day are dealing with this issue. Their hearts are broken watching their children, their adult children, going down that self-destruct route. And that's why I'm so passionate. But I am supportive of this legislation because I believe in the pub. I believe, I think the pub can be a really good environment where people can socialise once the alcohol is kind of monitored in some way or supervised in some way. The fact that the alcohol is legal does not reduce the harm it does, and we have an obligation to ensure that Ireland is not defined by our consumption of this drug, and hopefully we will arrive at a time when the idea of the pubs being open or closed on Good Friday will be irrelevant. So I do support this legislation, Minister, and I do wish Senator Billy Lawless well. I know his heart is, and I know actually the Senator also supports the Public Health Alcohol Bill, and I do appreciate that. So, Gurmila Mahagut, and I hope that timing was all right there.
It was excellent, Senator Black.